Welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I am your host, Ron Victor. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our growing community. Please remember to like and comment, and most importantly, share. Get the word out. Today, I want to talk about playing it safe. And I don't know about you, but I feel like most of my life I have been playing it safe and doing what I think is the right move, maybe a calculated move. But oftentimes when I look back, with hindsight, especially as I get older, I start to realize that I was playing very safe. And now that I have older kids who are in college, I've kind of used them as my litmus test on whether or not something I'm doing is got the right amount of, I don't want to say flex, but the right amount of, bravado or just kind of, excitement in it. And if my kids cringe or question or start to be like, I don't know, Dad, that was a little bit much, then I know I'm on the right track. Because I think playing it safe is good for certain careers, certain positions. If you're an attorney, you probably want to be pretty, even keeled, straight laced, or if you're an accountant, and no offense to attorneys or accountants, but just thinking about different career paths that you go down, there are some where playing it safe and some where maybe not playing it safe are the right move. And when you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to create something out of nothing, you've got to differentiate yourself from the pack. And if you look like everybody else, and I don't mean physically, but if your business looks exactly like everybody else's, it's got the same sales process, the same product, the same demeanor, the same blah, 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 all those things are the same, it's going to seem kind of boring. And how is a customer supposed to discern the difference between, what is a good product or a bad product? What is a good service or a bad service when everything looks the same? At that point, it's just relationships, which is a very important part of business. And there are a lot of businesses that are relationship driven where that becomes super important. But today I want to talk more abstractly and I think bigger about playing it safe, because in my life, I am guilty. I have played it safe. It's funny. I'm going to double click into that for a minute. I've played it safe from the way I've carried myself in business, but I haven't played it safe in the way of I'm always taking risks and starting business. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the concept of playing it safe as you start to build your business, because I'm 50, and in my time of starting businesses, I feel like I look back and I'm like, all right, like I was this guy, this business guy, and I always did, the right thing and the conservative thing, and I was always trying to be, kind of putting that best foot forward. But I think there's also been a reason why I haven't built, a $1 billion brand yet. I've built 2 companies to 9-figure sales, but I've not done a $1 billion company. And I think the reason that I haven't hit $1 billion in sales yet is because I'm not playing aggressive enough. I'm living inside of my little comfort box here of what, the world wants me, or what I think the world wants me to be. But I think sometimes when you're going to be bigger, bolder, and really, kind of push the envelope, you have to think bigger, and you have to be willing to take bigger risks and be uncomfortable with what maybe you're doing, saying, or even putting out into the world. And for me, I'm in software now. Like this, more than anything, I have the ability to take risks and be bold and be, different and unique, and I'm not doing it. And I'm really down on myself about that, because I want to take risks. I want to be big, and the only way that I can do that is to stop playing safe. So for me, not playing safe is getting out of my comfort zone. Not playing safe is doing things that maybe I think can be really big, but maybe I'm afraid to take that risk, or maybe it puts me in a position like I hate talking about myself, but maybe I have to be more outward, with my prospective audience about what, grand plans we have. I mean, projecting grandeur. Like this is literally, the whole epitome of how and why I started this is about projecting grandeur. Yet I'm sitting here, I think, playing it safe. And so if you're just getting going in your business, or you're just starting out and you're trying to figure out what you need to do, like number one, you've heard this before, you got to differentiate yourself from everyone out there. And by playing safe and doing what everybody else is doing isn't going to make you different. isn't going to give you the chance to be, bold and big and do something amazing. Like, you have to be willing to take risks. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, no matter how uncomfortable it really is. Because for me, it makes me very uncomfortable because I'm very comfortable inside of this box. Like, I know it well, and my box has gotten a little bigger over time, but I've gotten very comfortable inside this box, and I've built some really great businesses and team members and people, along the way. But I want to do something bigger. I want to be something bigger. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is that I have to be willing to take risks myself, and I have to be willing to stop playing safe. So, number one, how do you do that? Like, I'm going to figure this out with you, because I'm literally knee deep in trying to figure out what this means and how I can, embody what not playing it safe means. But I think, number one, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I talked about this in an earlier podcast. Like, you've got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And as you become more comfortable with the uncomfortable, that actually becomes comfortable. And it goes back to that box example. It becomes bigger and bigger. The second thing that you have to start doing is thinking differently. Instead of thinking about, what everyone before you has done, start thinking about things through a different lens. And, every business is different. And this can mean a ton of different things for a ton of different people out there. But start putting on different point of views. I like to think of POVs as an opportunity to look through a different lens at your business and be objective about it, and write things down. I talked about this the other day. Write everything down and start to flesh out like these crazy ideas, these huge opportunities, and figure out what's the right move for you. I use this example. There's a book, I think it's called Trust Me, I'm Lying, by the chief marketing officer of American Apparel. And he talked about how in the early days, this brand, would do things that are just, borderline uncomfortable, but it propelled them to be one of the fastest growing apparel companies in the world because they did these huge, big, grandiose ideas, and they weren't afraid to take risks, even to the detriment of some of the founders that ultimately had to get forced out of the business. Like, they stayed true to we take risks, and they had ads that were provocative and really pushing the envelope. And again, I'm not saying that's what you should do for your business, but all I'm trying to say is that if you want to be big, if you want to be bold, then you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of your safety area and start thinking bigger. So this is your permission. Ooh, that's another thing. You need to give yourself permission, but I'm giving you permission. Think big, think bold, think outside your box, look at things from a different lens, try to have a POV into your business from all sorts of different vantage points, and think about what you would do if you weren't you. Meaning, if you can insert somebody into the business and say, I'm out of the equation, here's what I want this thing to do. Like, what would that be? How big, how crazy, how bold can that initiative be? And that, I think, is where the real fun of growing just an amazing company, an amazing movement can start, is by you thinking big, getting out of your comfort zone, stop playing safe, and be bold. Hope you found this helpful. Go be bold, project your grandeur out to the world. While you're doing that, don't forget to like and comment, and most importantly, share, spreading the message. Entrepreneurs are changing the world. And I want to give any wisdom I have and anything I can do to help, no matter how small or big. That's what I want to do, because these are the people that are making the world a better place. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Ron Dichter. This is Projecting Grandeur.